Teacher talking sports, what it does, what do, how we live. And of course, a lot of the talk surrounding the 2025 NFL draft was how far Shedeur Sanders would fall. Finally was taken in the 5th round by the Cleveland Browns. Now, a guy who was super high on Shedeur Sanders was longtime ESPN NFL draft expert Mel Kiper Jr. He had Shedeur Sanders as his top-ranked quarterback, even over Cam Ward, who, of course, was the first overall pick. Well, as he does annually once the draft was over, Kiper Jr. posted his 2025 NFL draft grades, and just like he did last year, I remember, almost every team got some type of B, more than 2/3. But in this video, we're going to take a look at the best grades he gave out as well as the worst. He gave 5 teams some type of A grade and 5 teams with some type of C grade. So let's start with the best grades. And the one team he gave an A+ to, the Cleveland Browns. Not a surprise because they drafted the aforementioned Shedeur Sanders, and of course, Kiper's going to love that value in the 5th round. Also, of course, traded off the 2nd overall pick. When many expected them to take Travis Hunter, got a haul for it, including the 5th overall pick. Mason Graham was the pick there. Got Quinton Judkins, replacement for Nick Chubb, who still remains unsigned. Dylan Gabriel, that was a bit of a reach, according to many people, as well as Mel Kiper, but they also went 2 running backs because they got Dylan Sampson as well. Seahawks got an A. They got the only A. Gray Zabel, guy from the FCS level at North Dakota State, but North Dakota State has been a dominant team at that level. We've seen some NFL talent go through their doors, and Kiper definitely loves the Nick Emenwari pick, the safety out of South Carolina, a guy who I believe he mock drafted in the 1st round in some of his more recent mock drafts. Elijah Arroyo, could be an upgrade over Noah Fant at tight end. Damian Martinez late, a guy who definitely put up some gaudy stats at Miami running the ball. And I should have mentioned Jalen Milroe at quarterback, a guy who it's been said that he would need some time to develop. He can do so playing behind Sam Darnold. 3 teams with A-minuses. The New England Patriots, of course, went with the safe pick, Will Campbell, 4th overall. It was a shame that they weren't around to be able to pick Hunter or Carter. I'm sure they would have, but Will Campbell definitely will help there. Trevion Henderson, the other Ohio State running back, should be part of a committee. Ramondre Stevenson had some fumble issues last year. They haven't had much success drafting wide receivers of late. Let's see if Kyle Williams can be a difference there. And they drafted a kicker, Andres Bourgalis, also from the Hurricanes. Many saw him as the best kicker in the draft class, although Kiper had him 2nd. Giants A-, of course, Abdul Carter, 3rd pick. Maybe edge rusher wasn't their biggest need, but we look at the Giants' Super Bowl teams, had numerous pass rushers, and that will be the case again with Carter. Of course, they traded up, got Jackson Dart. Of course, Kiper would have preferred them get Sanders, but, Jackson Dart, a guy who can, if things are going well, sit out a year behind Russell Wilson, maybe Jameis Winston, but very productive, and the last Ole Miss quarterback the Giants drafted, didn't draft, but traded for, Eli Manning, definitely had a lot of success with the team. Darius Alexander was seen as one of the better defensive tackles and has some pass rushing skills as well. And Cam Skattebo, one of the best running backs in the nation last year, definitely can be part of a duo with Tyrone Tracy. Eagles also an A-. Jahad Campbell, late 1st round, excellent value there. I've been reading numerous articles saying Andrew Makuba will likely play better than where he was drafted. He was drafted last pick in the 2nd round. And of course, they had to take a Georgia defender and Mondin Jr. in the 5th round. So those are the 5 teams that got some type of A. Now, the 5 teams that got some type of C, 3 C pluses and 2 Cs. So let's start with the C pluses. We got the Carolina Panthers. Now, Kiper's been mocking Jalen Walker to the Panthers with that 8th overall pick, I don't know, for numerous months. Instead, they went offense. McMillan, wide receiver, Arizona. Not that Bryce Young couldn't use more talent at the receiver position, but they had, one of the worst defenses in NFL history last year. They did draft 2 edge rushers later, Nick Scourton and Princely Uman Mielen out of Ole Miss. Trevor Etienne was a solid running back. Of course, Jonathan Brooks, who they drafted last year, just can't stay healthy, so he'll be a backup behind Chuba Hubbard. The Detroit Lions, a lot of their picks were just seen as reaches. Tyreek Williams was a guy that not many expected to be drafted in the 1st round. Many people had numerous wide receivers above Isaac Tesla, who was drafted in the 3rd round. But the Tate Ratledge pick was definitely solid. But even Kiper says that Tesla, trading up from 102 to number 70 was their most questionable move. He had him ranked 149. Dolphins C+. Kenneth Grant was seen by many as more of a late 1st round pick. Instead, the Dolphins took him 13th overall. They clearly had needs in the secondary. Lost Javon Holland to the Giants in free agency. We know Jalen Ramsey could potentially get traded. Instead, they waited till the 5th round to take any type of secondary guy. Then the 2Cs, starting with the Falcons, needed edge rushers, needed pass rushers. I mean, they got 2. Jalen Walker was a nice pick at 15. But the James Pierce Jr. trade, definitely seen as a surprise. Seems like they gave up way too much to get him. They have to hope that he's a guy that has numerous double-digit sack seasons, and all in all, they only had 5 draft picks, and the Cincinnati Bengals got the other C. Shamar Stewart, a classic traits over production guy. Seems like sky's the limit for him, but he's had 1.5 sacks in each of his 3 seasons in college. Team that also only had 6 draft picks overall. We'll see if Stewart can pan out and reach that explosiveness and power that he seems to have as an edge rusher. But, 4.5 sacks, that's pretty crazy. So those are Kiper's 5 best and 5 worst drafts. Let me know in the comments if you agree, disagree, who had the best draft, who had the worst. I'll quickly go over the other 22 teams and what he graded them. Of course, everyone was a type of B. So the B pluses: Baltimore Ravens, Chicago Bears, Houston Texans, Kansas City Chiefs, Los Angeles Chargers, Tennessee Titans, Washington Commanders. B's: Dallas Cowboys, Green Bay Packers, Indianapolis Colts, Jacksonville Jaguars, Las Vegas Raiders, New York Jets, San Francisco 49ers, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. B minuses: Arizona Cardinals, Buffalo Bills, Denver Broncos, Los Angeles Rams, Minnesota Vikings, New Orleans Saints, Pittsburgh Steelers, and that's all 32 teams. So anyhow, don't forget to subscribe. Tell a friend, tell a friend, tell a friend to subscribe. Like the video, share the video, hit the bell for notifications. I'm out.